we've got the Booker T firing incident, but it's 2 pages. Should we just skip it? I mean, did you read it?
I read it. Hey, I read everything you send me.
I know that, but like I can barely
Do
understand it, and
you
I wrote
think
it.
you sent? No, I understand because it was unrelated to wrestling, unrelated to the to business within the company. It was a private issue, and they were all hanging around his school, right?
Yeah, so if I'm going to give you, I'm going to try and do the really short version, but there's 2 pages here. Essentially, there was a young woman called Rachel Rose who was signed to Booker T's reality of wrestling promotion. It's almost like a feeder system to WWE as well as its own little independent promotion who does like local TV and stuff. And she was alleging that she was getting stalked and getting threatening behaviour from a wrestler called Sean Reed. Now, he was told to stay away, or was asked to stay away, and he wouldn't stay away. And then she tried to get an injunction out on him, what do you call it? You know, barring contact kind of thing.
Yeah. When I grew up, it was called a peace warrant, which is it was a piece of paper, legal paper that says, don't come within 300 feet of this person.
Yeah, I actually like that better. Peace warrant, we'll call it a peace warrant. Anyway, she tried to file one. They said she couldn't because she was never in a relationship with him, so apparently that was a thing.
I don't understand that.
I don't understand that. It's bizarre.
No, because somebody could just pick you out to harass you. You don't have to know them. I don't know. I don't get that either.
I don't get that either. Anyway, I think the bone of contention is that there was a bar around the corner from the facility where they train, and this Sean Reed fella was known to be at the bar, but there's a tradition with all the talent from reality of wrestling that they go to the bar after they're done for the day. And Rachel Rose was told not to go because this guy was already there. She went anyway because, it was a tradition. She didn't want to be stopped from going certain places, I guess. And then there was an incident in the bar where, let me just have a look, spotted by late night, confronted Rose, who informed Reed that she would be calling the police. ROW talent also confronted Reed with Rose telling Fightful that Reed assaulted a ROW wrestler before attempting to attack her. Reed was arrested. But then this guy, Sean Reed, wasn't anything to do with reality wrestling at any point. Recently, he'd been let go, essentially. But the problem was that Booker T, quote-unquote, fired Rose, as Rachel Rose as well. And then Booker T responded to these claims, saying, and I'm sorry, this is going to be a lot of reading, I knew Sean Reed was at the bar the next door off reality wrestling property. He asked Rose not to go, and then she goes, and then because it's off ROW property, it's not his problem, essentially. I stressed to Rose, go somewhere else, do that for me so we can defuse the situation. It's a police situation, not anything that can be handled off property. So essentially, I don't know if Booker T is almost like saying, well, she did instigate the scene. She was told not to go somewhere, and she started something with somebody who was already starting something with her, so it's very confusing. And the other thing is that Booker wanted to stress that he didn't fire her because she was never an employee. She was an independent contractor, as is usual wrestling, and that he wasn't fully aware of all the facts by the time he decided not to use her reality wrestling. That's the meat of it.
I fully agree with Booker. And she is not an employee of this. She's a self-employed employee. She's a contractor, is what she is.
Independent, yeah.
Yeah. And if it's affecting Booker's business, yes. He can just he won't fire her, he just won't use her. I don't know who told her she was fired. But so you got to watch using the word fired because that meant you were hired. You got to, and that's a legal issue. But if it was giving any kind of a problem to his school, yeah, he was perfectly in the right. He got rid of the guy, right?
Long before, I believe, yeah.
And he got rid of that. And even though she wasn't in a relationship, he could have wanted to be in a relationship and kept harassing her and hanging around. But it had an effect on his school. Yeah, I think he's totally in the right. And I agree with what he did.